Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz Eyeshadow Palette. So if you'd like to see what look I can create, the swatches from this palette, as well as get to know the palette a little bit more, then keep watching because we're jumping in right now. The Huda Beauty Rose Quartz Eyeshadow Palette is $67. I got mine from Sephora. On the back, it shows all the ingredients inside, as well as Huda's social media links. You can barely see it, but it also has this sort of quartz marbly pattern inlaid into the unit carton. It's very subtle, but it's very pretty. It's a nice touch. And here's the actual palette component. Ooh, wow. That is really neat. Okay, so that's kind of the same thing that's on the packaging, but the actual component is definitely cooler. You get the rainbow oil slick kind of finish on the inside. It looks like true marbling, like rose quartz. Wow, that's really cool. Then on the back, you can kind of see some marbling sort of texture, but it's not nearly as intense as the front, but it does follow the theme. So definitely rose quartz from front to back. And now let's see the palette in all its glory. Wow, I know that shade won't look like that once I get it all mushed in and mixed around, but that looks really cool as is. Got a pretty decent range of neutral-ish warm tones, along with, of course, our rose quartz tones. Now that we've seen her in all her glory, let's get into swatching. The first shade is the shade Quartz. Aura. Gratitude, Cosmic Love, Empowered, Joy, Precious, Energized, Love Stone, Cherished, Blissful, Happiness, Mantra, Serenity, Abundance, Moon Magic, Radiate, and Self-Love. And there's all 18 shades of the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz Eyeshadow Palette. You guys know I won't leave you hanging. Here's photos of the swatches, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And here's you guys a video close-up so you can see all the individual textures of every shade. You know, I really gotta hand it to Huda or her marketing team or her creation team, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Whoever makes and decides what shades and textures are gonna go in the palette, because the variety of textures in this palette is what makes it so awesome to me. I mean, those swatches, we had super sheer and what looked like a gloss, the little ball inside it shade. I hate those. I don't like those at all. If that's like the only shade you use, or you just throw some kind of neutral matte in the crease and you put that on your lid, it can be a look. It can be something. It's different. I don't like it, but it's different. And I can see that benefiting quite a lot of people. But it also has those really chunky metallics that have a lot of texture to them. It has more of the smooth, satiny kind of metallics. It's just super unique, and I appreciate that. And I'm noticing the more I continue to buy and review Huda palettes, just like the Mercury Retrograde palette, which I did review as well. I'll leave it linked up here if you guys want to watch that one. But that one also had a lot of different textures, and it's just such a fun and unique experience to use it. But now with this one, let's create some rose quartz on this eye. I'm gonna start by using my Morphe E17 smaller fluffy brush and go into the shade Precious. The formula in this Precious shade is so soft. It feels really, really creamy, and it went on really well. The Precious shade looks like hot chocolate. Why are we getting so many hot chocolate-esque shades lately? It's just the season to have mauve-y, cool-toned browns, I guess. Now I'm gonna use this Morphe X Coca-Cola brush and use the shade Radiate, which is kind of a lighter version of the Precious shade that I just use on the outer portion. I sort of want to make it look like I'm just transitioning from darker to lighter, from outer corner to inner corner. Make it a nice little fade, maybe. That's what we're gunning for here. Oh, what a beautiful soft matte shade. I just love a good two-tone crease. I can't help it. My crease is essentially deepened now, so let's go ahead and lighten things up and add a little bit more color. I think this is where the actual rose quartz is gonna come in more. So I'll start by using the J Sky ×4 brush. It's a really big fluffy brush, and use the shade. I'm torn between Happiness and Serenity. They're both kind of the brighter pink shades, but this one's definitely more cool toned. This one's definitely more warm. It's a lot more rosy. Yeah, let's do Happiness. I think that'll be a good shade. And with this one, I'm gonna put it right on top of Precious, sort of halfway on my skin, halfway on the previous shade, and then just work on blending it out and seeing if I can make a really soft looking blend. It's a very beautiful shade. Definitely has the rose tone to it, but it's a little more vibrant than the rest of the palette. I feel like the rest of the palette is pretty muted. You've really only got a couple of more vibrant shades. Once you get into the metallics and the shimmers, that's where the vibrancy really comes in. Like that Cosmic Love shade. Holy cow, is that bright. I think we might have to use that shade. Just a gorgeous formula. It's so soft and smooth and blendable. She gave just enough rosiness, I think, to make it actually look like it fits a rose quartz theme. Now let's add some pink. I'm gonna use the J Sky X4 brush, another big fluffy brush, and the shade Cherished. It's like this really light baby powdery pink. It's really pretty. And I think it's about the brightest shade in the palette. Yeah, that's really bright. And now I'm just gonna start taking this and applying it to the inner portion of the crease and blending out that cool brown with it. She is gonna take over this entire inner corner. Well, that was really easy. It just melted in like it was nothing. It's like I took a cream shadow and just stuck it on my eye. That's looking really pretty so far. I'm gonna take a little bit more Radiate and just make sure she doesn't disappear too much, because I like having somewhat of that darker shade in the inner corner. It just adds a little bit more definition. It makes it look like it's more three-dimensional instead of so flat. That's what I'm talking about. Ugh. So pretty, so pretty, so pretty, so pretty, 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 so pretty, so pretty, yeah. Zoom. Come on and zoom. Come on and zoom. Come on and zoom, 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 my zoom, zoom, zoom. Now let's use the darkest matte shade in the palette, which is the shade Mantra right here. It looks like a dark kind of espresso brown. I think it might have a little bit of purple in it though, which would make sense because then it would fit the whole quartz rose kind of theme. And with this shade, I'm gonna use this pointed brush and get really concise right here in the crease. Kind of deepen everything up all the way around. And that's really gonna be it with this shade. I'm not gonna do too much with it. I don't want it to get too dark and take over the look. I just want it to be in the crease, and that's it. Now she's getting nice and smoky looking. We got some depth going on. getting some drama. I went ahead and sort of cut my crease off camera. I didn't really like cut it so there's no hard line all the way around. I just kind of used the brush and just sort of cleaned it up a little bit, if you will. But now I'm gonna try to use Moon Magic and Cosmic Love on the lid. I don't know if it's gonna work. I have 4 different flat brushes here so I can try to pick it up without using the finger or a foam tip applicator. When I swatched these, they almost kind of seemed like they were more topper shades than really pigmented and intense base shades. But I really want to use them as the lid shade, so we're gonna try. I'm gonna try Moon Magic first. It doesn't pick up at all. This is probably gonna be one of those ones I'm gonna have to break up first. Yep, it is. Now let's see if it will actually apply. I still really don't see hardly anything on the brush though. I mean, not really. You can kind of see it a little bit, but nothing's really happening. Okay, next I'm gonna try this Morphe 210 brush instead. Usually this one works if I just poke it into the shadow first and break it up, then try to pick it up. So let's see if it does this time as well. Well, that worked a lot better than with the previous brush. That's still just not enough for me though. Oh, I really just can't decide if I like that or not. It is super, super sheer. You can definitely see that I have an eyeshadow base underneath it and it shows the actual skin tone. But whenever it's thick enough and built up enough and reflects enough, then it looks like that icy cool blue. And when I turn in different light, it turns to pink instead. And that's really awesome. I just don't know if I can deal with the seeing my base underneath it still. While I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead with the same brush I tried to use the first time and now use the shade Cosmic Love. Oh, that's so pretty and I can't wait to see if it's gonna work. And we'll see if that one will build up on the outer corner. Oh, that picks up so much better. Like I can actually see that this time. Wow. Oh, that is magical. Now that they're right beside each other, it seems kind of pointless to have Moon Magic and Cosmic Love in the same palette because they look almost like they're the exact same shade. Even with the flip, you know, looking at me from the front right now, you see that there's a light blue and then kind of a little bit barely of a darker blue, sort of like a royal blue instead of a sky blue. And then when I turn and you see the reflect, it's just that solid pink or quartz, rose quartz, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. I don't know if there's really enough difference between those two shades to justify in my mind having them both in the same palette. But it does make a really cool flip when they're all across the eye together. Now as my sort of little last step for the top of the eye look, I'm gonna use this Morphe M416 brush and the shade Self Love here, which is, it looks like a champagne in the pan, but once it comes out and goes on the eye, really is just sort of a soft reflective pink. But that's gonna be my brow bone highlight. It's just a very reflective rose. And you know, I've got to admit, that's probably one of the only things that I really don't like about the Huda palettes. I understand wanting to make your palette look cute and fun and nice to take pictures of, because that's what a lot of people are gonna do and that's what sells makeup. But I like to see what shade I'm gonna go in with when I'm looking at the palette. I want it to be the shade that's gonna go on my eye. And when you have all this marbly kind of stuff, there's more than one shade you see. There's no possible way you can know what the shade's gonna be unless you swatch it first. And that's kind of annoying. I don't like that. I don't need that. But now that I have the whole top part of the eye look done, I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and get all my face makeup applied so that we can finish off the lower lash line and maybe add an inner corner highlight. So I'll see you guys in just a second so we can finish it off. With the face all finished up, now we can move on to the lower lash line. So I'm gonna use the same Coca-Cola brush and Morphe brush that I used earlier in the shades Mantra and, was it Radiate with Coca-Cola brush? I think so. And I'm gonna combine those two and smoke them out on the lower lash line. So the what is this again? 507 brush is gonna be Mantra. Just gonna add a nice fine line right up against those lower lashes. That looks really nice right beside that pink in the waterline. They contrast each other just enough to make that pink really, really pop. And now let's see if Radiate will smoke it out. Get some of that rosiness in on the lower lash line as well, so it's not just dark and lonely down there. And now to finish everything off, I'm gonna use this Morphe M431 brush and the shade shade Blissful here and try to make that an inner corner highlight. I doubt this is gonna work, but that shade is just so pretty that I at least have to try. Probably just gonna be a chunky mess and it's not gonna stick and I'm gonna have a bunch of little pieces of fallout, but here goes. Holy cow, that kind of work. So like it is too dark still, so it makes it kind of leave a little bit of a cast, but since it's on the inner corner of my eye, a cast doesn't really matter. I'm living my best duochrome fantasy with this eyeshadow look. Now I've got to go off camera, finish off my lower lash mascara, and I'll be right back with my final thoughts on the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz Eyeshadow Palette. See you in just a second. So what do you guys think of the look and the palette? I love it so much. It performed well, the shades were really pigmented and they blended out amazingly. The only thing I didn't like is this Love Stone shade, because that's, like, what is it? What's it for? Is it just for like a sheer glossy lid kind of color? Is it a gloss? Do you want us to use it as a gloss? Why? Who asked for that? If you did, kudos. I'm glad you got it. If you didn't, why, Huda? Why did you make it? What's the reason? But regardless of the, I don't know, gloss shade, let's call it that, I feel like there is a lot of versatility within the formulation of this palette, not the color story, because obviously the color story is very, very monochromatic. You've got a couple of kind of more neutral tones over here that you can roll with. You can go cool toned or more warm toned if you want. So that's kind of neat. You can take it both ways, but either way, it's gonna be a form of rose or mauve. And I am not mad about it because it is so pretty. I still really enjoyed this palette. I think it's a bit pricey for $67. I mean, $67 for 18 shades is definitely not affordable or drugstore or even prestige. It's getting up there into closer of like luxury pricing. But when I swatched this palette, feeling the shades, you can just feel that it's gonna be good. Everything was just really soft. It felt like it was gonna work well. And you can clearly tell the difference in all of the different formulas of the metallic reflective shades that she has in this palette. And I think that stands to say quite a bit, because a lot of brands and a lot of palettes, they claim to have different metallic formulas, but once you actually put the metallic on the eye, it just all feels the same and looks the same. This is not like that. There are definite variations in the formula types, and I think that's really neat, and it gives you that versatility that maybe you can't get out of the color story, but you can get with the formulation. I think that's super unique. I'm really glad that that's something that Huda does within her palettes, because honestly, I think it's what keeps me interested and keeps me buying from the brand. So those are my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know what yours are down below. You guys know that I always love to hang out down in the comments, just chill and talk with you guys. It's fun and you keep me entertained, so thank you. If you did enjoy this video, it would mean so much to me if you wanted to give me a thumbs up just to let me know you did. You don't have to, but if you're nice, you will. Also, if you like this look and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, then please at least gain this. And that is to always remember and never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.